Okay, so one thing I did off camera was remove the air box off of my intake. I have the ETS intake, which has been on here since 2015. So I just took it off. Probably gonna have to put the mounting bracket for the ETS intake box. All right, next in the install, I already have this part installed. If you saw a previous video of mine, I already installed the turbo sump restrictor fitting. Go click on the eye somewhere above up here somewhere, and it shows the full install video of that. So I guess that's the reason for that turbo sump restrictor fitting, not only to reduce smoke for us catless guys, but also part of the air oil separator system. But we're gonna skip over that, and keep in mind, this is going to be different between the 15, 16 models, the 17 and 18 models. They're all going to be slightly different. All right, so you're going to take one of your lines. That's going to go from your oil drain to your turbo restrictor fitting. These might have to be cut down to size because you're going to want to have gravity do the work and have it flow downwards. So I'm just going to take the line, put a hose clamp on it, and route it to the oil drain on the air oil separator. Damn, my hand. Shit. So I've measured my hose, and one thing to note when installing this hose to your oil sump restrictor is to ensure that it is at a constant downward slope, and that just lets the oil drain back in there and to keep the oil from draining back up into the actual AOS. I guess that's good enough. I have the Egr Delete Kit installed, so my install is going to be a little different than yours. All you're pretty much doing is taking the coolant hose, I don't know if you can see it, right here, and splitting them into the actual air oil separator itself and then back into the engine. So these are connected together using the Egr Delete Kit. I guess this line is going to go to here, and then the other line is going to go to the return. I'm trying to get you guys the best angle I can, so I have the included 5/16 plastic connector, and what you see in front of you, hopefully it's in focus, is the coolant lines that used to go to the EGR connection, which I don't have anymore because I have the Egr Delete Kit. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp these off. I doubt there's going to be much coolant that comes out of it, but now I have the fitting that came with the kit, and now that these are separated, I'm going to try to do this with one hand. I don't think I could be able to do it, and install that into the bottom line of where the EGR connection, coolant connections used to be. And here's the top line, here's the bottom line. Okay, so the coolant lines have been installed. Here's the clamp for the other end. I'm just going to install these to the old EGR coolant lines, and that should be about it. And we can go ahead and next we'll probably do the crankcase ventilation hoses for these fittings up here. We have to take out this OEM hose. If you have a 2017 and up, your hose might be slightly different than this. And also we need to take out or remove the fan. And yeah, the fan's really easy. It's just a 10mm, which I have right here, and an electrical connection. Before I read the next part of the instructions, I think these two push clips get taken out, and this whole line is going to be removed. So just follow that. There's a couple of pinch clamps. This one is way down deep in there, and this one goes into your turbo inlet housing. So this is, yeah, the 5/8 hose. It's gonna go your turbo inlet. There you go, fits like a glove. Take your hose clamp, run it all the way down. All right, leave that loose for now. To make things easier in tight spaces, you wanna just grab one of your small 7mm sockets. All right, that's all tightened up. so I'm just gonna leave that loose for now. All right, so now this hose is ready for install. We're gonna get our, is this the 5/8 or the 1/2 inch? I don't know which is which. I think this is the smaller of the hose, and we're gonna install that down in here in this deep valley for the crankcase vent tube or connection. But yeah, that's gonna be a tight fit, but I think I can get this. Alright, so I ran into the first problem. You guys can't see this very well, but let me see if I can use the light. It'll probably flicker, but oh well. So you see that hose? You probably can't tell in the video, but it is kinked. So no matter what, no matter which way I route it, I routed it behind, routing it up here like the instructions tell you to. Either way, regardless, it's going to kink. So I think I'm going to use the supplied 90-degree fitting, which this doesn't say it in the instructions at all, but I think I might use that and route it up this way. So I cut a little bit of hose off and made my 90-degree fitting. This is the fitting that's installed in the kit, this 90-degree. So I'm gonna put that into that crankcase vent hose and then use a supplied hose and route it all the way up to the air oil separator. I hope this works. So, like I said, it's not the instructions, so if you have any issues with yours, you could probably consult my video. Hey.
Just last week you called me. The way you're talking is driving me insane. Hello. Just last week you called me. The way you're talking is driving me insane. Hello. Hello. Even if we're hanging by a thread, what you said is spinning in my head, I just wanna pull you closer.
So now that I got that pain in the ass hose installed, even the instructions said it was a pain in the ass. I think it goes right here, and it says to trim the hose to fit. I have to straighten this out. I have to make that cut a little bit better. To be perfectly honest with you, but let's just test fit this to there. And yep, it's the proper fit. All right, so next it calls to install the, or to remove the rear vent, rear crankcase vent, which you can see right there. So I'm gonna take that, a little simple pinch clamp, I'm gonna take that out. And then you take out the PCV valve, which is actually, let me point to it, right there. That's the PCV valve. If you've seen AOS installs before, you guys know that has to be taken out. So I think that's a 19mm, as the instruction says. Okay, cut that off. Hose has been removed, now the PCV valve. I just went and got my 19mm and took out the PCV valve. And I'm gonna show you that in just a minute. I'm just taking it out by hand. It's actually pretty tight. There's your PCV valve. Looks like it's got that stock goo on there. So that's gonna be reused later on in the install. It says to use this fitting as a replacement for the PCV valve. Fitting is installed. I don't know if I can get you enough light back there. I'm done with the hoses up front. I'm going to reinstall the fan, which is really easy. So next, you're going to have to install this top hose right here. For the sake of the video, I'm just going to install it right now. So the next thing I did, I took the barb fitting. This barb fitting is included with the kit. This is the OEM PCV valve, and I put the PCV valve into the supplied fitting. And I took the OEM hose. This is the hose that was, this is the stock hose actually. And I just put it on there. This end's gonna go back into the intake manifold where you took it off at. Let me show you that again. Here's that barb fitting. And I'm gonna install it back into that nipple. And I'm gonna put that pinch clamp back there off camera. And this is the barb fitting. This is gonna lead all the way back into this hose right here. With this Y fitting. So this Y fitting is going to go here. One side is going to go back to the PCV valve, and the rest of this is going to go back to the air oil separator. Alright, so I'm not exactly sure where I left off, but I have this hose now connected. This is the brass bung with the PCV valve going all the way into the intake manifold, as you can see right there. And I'll admit, I have a lot of cleaning up to do. The hoses are not where I want them to be, but that's really easy. A little bit of trimming here and there, and I can get the hoses routed to where I want them to be for that nice clean look. Alright, so I'm not exactly sure where I left off in the install, and I know some of you guys are going to ask, they have the STI version of their AOS, which has an alternative mounting solution for the AOS, which is somewhere right over here. Are they going to have it for the WRX? I do not know as of this moment. If I do find out, I will let you guys know. But yeah, I would like to run my intake air box once again, and I think it would look a lot cleaner over here, to be honest with you, but we're not sure if they're going to come out with that mounting solution as of yet. But so far, so good. I'm really digging this nice crinkle look, and as soon as I get everything cleaned up and tidied up and get the hoses mounted to where I want them to be, this will look a whole lot cleaner. But I think this is a nice, simple, easy design, a lot easier install than some of the other AOSs that are out in the market right now that pretty much do the same exact thing. But alright, so Perrin air oil separator is now fully installed. I would say this is about 90% done. Still a couple modifications I have to do to the hoses just to make sure everything is nice and clean. I have to cut this one shorter and route this underneath just a little bit, maybe a couple inches should do. This right here was not the instructions. I just routed this way. I just think it looks a little bit cleaner. But yeah, so far so good. No issues with the air oil separator. I've been driving around for a few days with the air oil separator on, no leaks whatsoever to report. But yeah, so far so good. I've installed other air oil separators on this platform, and I will say this is by far the easiest air oil separator install out of all the ones that I've done. So really, it's not that bad. In about a few months, a few thousand miles, we're going to open up the bottom of this, since yes, you can open up the inside of this air oil separator. We'll open up the inside, look at the foam, see what kind of things that it's trapping. But yeah, so far so good. So if you're not sure about an air oil separator, how it works, I would highly recommend knowing how the PCV valve system works in these cars. But I appreciate you guys watching, supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. I read all the comments down below, all the good ones, all the bad ones. But anyways, thanks for watching. I appreciate your guys' support. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.